Morning time was there and people were gathering. At the bus station, each person had their own luggage. Some had small bags on their shoulders. Some had big sacks. Someone was wearing gloves. Someone had a shawl. Everyone was prepared according to their own purpose. The bus was about to arrive after a short while and everyone was busy in their own conversations. Someone was talking on the phone. Someone was standing quietly. Someone was holding a child. Someone was drinking tea. The bus slowly arrived at the station and people started moving quickly. Someone was checking their ticket. Someone was looking for their seat number, and slowly everyone got onto the bus. Inside the bus there were 2 rows of seats with a small passage. In the middle, everyone sat on their seats. Someone placed their bag above. Someone pushed it under the seat on the side. The sound of the moving bus was very normal. A soft rumble of the engine and a slight rubbing sound of the tires. Everyone was used to this sound, so no one paid attention to it. Just like everyday life moves the same way, today's journey also felt normal. Some people were talking. One was saying that he needed to reach the city urgently because his work was important. Another said there was some problem at home, so he was returning. Someone said that after a long time he was going to meet relatives and that happiness made his heart beat faster. Everyone was lost in their own thoughts. Some people were simply looking outside the window. On the roadside there were houses, markets, and small shops. Then slowly the busy city atmosphere disappeared behind them. The road opened up and became long and straight. The bus was moving smoothly without any jerks or trouble. The bus driver was doing his job quietly, his hands on the steering wheel and his eyes on the road. Everything seemed normal. There was no sign of any problem, no unusual situation. Everyone thought the journey would pass peacefully. No one could even imagine that the color of this journey would change ahead. One person asked the person next to him how long it would take to reach the next city. The other replied, not too long. If everything stays fine, we will reach by evening. Everyone agreed to this. They all thought like usual today would also be safe and comfortable. Everyone's mind was just occupied with their own duties, their personal worries, their lives, their thoughts. No one was thinking beyond themselves. No one had any idea that this journey was going to become a very big test in their lives. But for now everything was silent and calm. Everything was fine. Slowly the road started changing. The straight road ended and the hilly area began. People inside the bus also felt that the road had become curvy, but this was normal because hilly journeys are like this. No one felt any fear of this. Up to this point everything was smooth and peaceful. Everyone's heart was normal. No shock, no fear, no sign of any accident. Everything was moving like a regular journey. The journey of the bus was now moving through the hilly area. The road was rising upward slowly like it was attached to the mountains. There were turns where the driver had to slow the bus. People inside now sat more straight. No one was talking anymore. A quiet layer had spread in the bus. After some time passed, the driver slowed the speed even more. Everyone felt that this area was more difficult. The road had become narrow. On one side there was a steep rocky wall, and on the other side there was a deep drop. If someone looked through the window, they would get frightened and immediately look straight ahead again. A child was sitting holding the hand of his mother. He was asking again and again, when will we reach? But the mother stayed silent. She did not reply. She also knew that this part of the journey had to be taken carefully. Some passengers tightened their luggage, placing it firmly under their seats as if they had an instinct that the bus might struggle a bit, but everything was still fine. Nothing dangerous had happened. Yet everyone was used to the soft shaking movement of the bus. Then slowly everyone's eyes began looking outside the front window because a narrow bridge was now visible. It was not very long, but it was thin, and on both sides there were no strong railings, only a very small side support, like a thin boundary. As the bus came closer to the bridge, the breathing of some people grew a little faster. There was no scream, no sound, only a small fear appeared quietly on every face. Still everyone stayed silent, as if they were telling themselves everything will be fine, everything will pass safely. The driver held the steering more firmly and moved the bus slowly onto the bridge. The bridge was straight, but the depth below was enough that even one glance would shake the heart. So many passengers moved their eyes away from the window and looked straight at the seat or ahead. One person held the seat beside him as if to comfort himself. Another held his breath, waiting for these moments to pass. Everyone felt that once the bus crossed the bridge, the road would become easy again. The bus continued forward on the bridge in perfect silence. No laughter, no talk, no noise, only the weight of silence that could be felt in every breath. Every heart wished that the bus would cross the bridge quickly and move ahead. Slowly the bus reached the middle of the bridge. At that moment, everyone's heartbeat felt like it had increased. At the same time, like one shared feeling rising across every chest, yet no one spoke, no one moved, only waiting for this moment to pass and the bus to get back to normal road. But no one knew that the real test was just about to begin. The bus was now moving in the middle of the bridge. Everyone was looking straight ahead. There was no comfort on any face, but no one was speaking. Everyone thought, it is fine, it is just a matter of 2 minutes. The bridge will end and then the road will become straight again and everyone will continue toward their destination calmly. But this was the moment where the story began to change. The bus made a small sound, like something from underneath had come loose, like a small piece had broken and fallen back. At first no one noticed. Everyone thought it was just a normal machine sound, but the driver lowered his head slightly, held the steering tightly and pressed his foot gently on the brake. As soon as the brake was pressed, the bus shook lightly, but it did not stop. The driver pressed the brake again, this time with more force, but still the bus did not respond. Now the bus was shaking gently, like something underneath was becoming loose, and everyone could feel that the bus, though slow in speed, was starting to lose control. One person quietly held the side of the seat tightly. A woman pulled her child closer. An elder closed his eyes and leaned his head back. Everyone's breaths became heavier, but still no one screamed, no questions, no sound. The driver began turning the steering with full strength, trying to keep the bus straight, but the bus was still leaning slightly to one side, as if the road was pulling it toward itself. Looking out of the window now felt even harder, because below there was only depth and darkness, and even a small tilt meant there was nothing between life and falling, but a thin, fragile chance. There came a moment where every person in the bus felt time stop. Someone held their breath. Someone stared straight ahead, as if saying, whatever happens now will happen in just one moment. The driver pressed the brake again, this time with all the force he had, but the brake did not respond anymore. The brake was lifeless. Now the bus was no longer in control. Stopping it was no longer reality, only a thought. There were no words left to say. The expressions on faces said everything. Everyone understood now that this moment was not normal. This was the kind of moment that changes a life forever. The bus was now near the end of the bridge, but control was slipping completely. The steering was sliding, the brakes were useless, and the tilt of the bus was increasing faster. Someone whispered softly, just stop, just stop, just stop. But there was no answer, only silence. Only the sound of breathing, only the beating of hearts. In every heart there was only one prayer moving softly: let there be safety. Let there be safety, just safety. But time was not ready to show mercy. Time was about to show how thin the thread of life really is. And then the moment came, the moment that was going to change everything. Of the bridge, the driver made one last attempt and turned the steering with all his remaining strength. His hands were shaking. The bus was leaning so much now that the people inside felt it difficult to stay seated. Some held the edges of the seats, some held their bags, some held the hands of the person beside them. Every heart was sinking into darkness, and then suddenly the bus slipped from the edge of the bridge and turned downward. The things inside the bus were thrown around. Someone's voice, someone's screams, someone's breath, all felt like they broke at the same moment. The bus was falling down through the mountains, hitting the rocks as it fell. Everyone was shaking. No one could control themselves. Everyone understood. Only one thing now, that life was now only a guest for a single remaining moment. A heavy impact came. The bus stopped. Dust rose into the air, but no one was seeing the dust. The senses of everyone had shaken. The bus was broken from inside. Some had fallen straight, some were tangled in corners, some had their hands and legs wounded, some had lost their voice, some had pain stuck inside their throat like a weight. The injured were breathing slowly. Someone was crying, someone was silent, someone was trying to see who was alive and who was not. One person lifted their head slightly and looked around. There was no clear sound, only the weight of pain spread through every body. Those who were still conscious began helping each other. Someone held someone's arm, someone searched for water. No one was shouting anymore because the strength to scream was finished. Above the bridge there was complete silence. Below, the ground was broken, and in between life and death were sitting side by side. After some time, local people reached there. Someone placed their hand on their head in shock. Someone called out for help. The ambulance was being waited for, but time was moving extremely slow, as if time itself had frozen in grief. The breaths of those still alive were breaking in small pieces. Their eyes were holding only one question: why did this happen? How did this happen? And will we survive or not? This moment was heavy. This moment was the one that leaves the heart crying forever. But the story does not end here, because this journey did not only cause an accident. This journey was about to change someone's life completely.